this is a question from a passage I came across in the Bible from 2 Kings chapter 2. It's on Elisha. And he, being Elisha, went up from thence to Bethel. And as he was going up by the way, little boys came out of the city and mocked him, saying, "Go up, thou bald head. Go up, thou bald head." And looking back, he saw them and cursed them in the name of the Lord. And there came forth 2 bears out of the forest, and tore of them 42 boys. So, what's going on here? Is Elisha just being fickle and having these boys mauled because they called him a name?
Sounds like he was going tactical.
Tactical? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, I said he's going tactical.
Yeah.
He's going medieval on the derrieres.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to be fooled with no prophet of the Lord.
I mean, so that's not fickle, though? Like, you call him a name and suddenly judgment upon you is 2 bears come out of the forest and they tear you limb from limb? Is that...
Maybe you needed it. Don't forget, he was a prophet, and he knew what kind of juvenile delinquents they were going to grow into. You think he was going to stop with just assaulting an old man and calling him names? Not likely. Next thing you know, they'd be stealing hubcaps and sniffing glue. Yeah. And then they'd turn to major crime. First burglary and pot. And then they'd be selling drugs and assaulting people.
Isn't that predestination?
Not if you see it happening as it happens.
How do you see past free will happening like that?
Because he knew where they were going to take their free will.
How do you know?
Because he could see through the eyes of God where everything is now.
Gosh, the Old Testament was just so brutal.
Well, they needed it.
Why'd they need it?
Because they were nasty, unlike us.
Yeah, we need it just as much, but we don't have the same deal going on in the New Testament. Like, I still don't understand the differences.
Well, you gotta bear in mind, for one thing, that the incarnation radically changed everything. For one thing, you can go to heaven now, and that really wasn't possible before Christ ascended to heaven. That's the first thing. The second thing is that there certainly was much more justice in the world because there was so much infamy. Bad as things are now, they were worse then. And I'm only half joking when I say what I say about the kids. I'm sure they had some foreknowledge of what they would have done with their lives had they lived. Or contrary-wise, I'll give you a more modern thing, and not by a prophet. Do you remember a fellow named Bernhard Goetz, who was attacked by a group of youths on the subway?
No.
Well, this is back in the late 70s, and he became kind of a folk hero because, you know, in those days, before Mayor Giuliani, you went on the subway, you were definitely taking your life in your hands.
Yeah, New York City in the 70s is developing an infamy about how terrible it was.
It was pretty bad. So the muggings on the subway were just regular occurrences. So there was this kind of dweeby-looking white guy named Bernhard Goetz, and he didn't like the threat of being robbed or beaten or murdered anymore. That kind of lost its appeal to him. So he went on the subway packing, and when the youths attacked him to get his money, he blew them away. Now, didn't kill them, but he sent several of them into the hospital and all that. As I recall, there were 3 or 4 of them. One of them ended up in a wheelchair for life. He was the only one who didn't go to prison for greater crimes later.
So, and what's the moral of the story, though? See, I mean...
Well, the moral of the story is that I have no doubt that Elisha knew where they were headed. He saved the world, a trio or a quartet or a quintet, however many there were, of obnoxious, annoying scoundrels.
Okay, so that's God's
Now,
justice right there, in
yeah.
a
Now, mind
sense.
you, Bernhard Getz is probably not a prophet of the Almighty in my estimation,
Yeah.
but it's a pretty safe bet that if a group of youths are going to try to mug you on the subway, their ultimate futures are probably not going to be that rosy either.
Okay.
I mean, stop and think. In the Jewish society of that time, going after the elderly and insulting them like that was a huge taboo.
Oh, okay. Well, that adds greater context. So it's not some small thing. That's
No,
okay.
you don't assault and insult elderly people. That's just, I mean, that's terrible. You don't do that.
Okay.
And if they were able to do that at that age, I'm sure they would have grown up into something worse.